Morning, everyone. It is the 19th of December, midday update. So let's have a look at the S&P 500 and have a look at see what we're seeing. So it seems that we are getting a bounce and support off of this volume weighted average price, which is from the 17th of September, and we're currently up against the anchor from the Federal Reserve. So we broke above that 5-day moving average this morning, and we seem to be holding above the daily volume weighted average price and the weekly. The month to date's up ahead, and like I said, that Federal Reserve anchor is still there, and that's what we're kind of playing with and battling with right now. If we break above that, then it would be good to see a pull back and find support at this level, because this is a prior band of support, which support potentially turns into resistance. So we'll see how it pulls back. I would prefer, actually, we had a stronger sell off and undercut this prior low, just from a structural standpoint, take out some stops, but it looks a little unrealistic right now. We do continue to have a flat to declining 5-day moving average over the next kind of 24 hours of trading, or the next session, I should say, because as we cut into this data, that 5-day moving average will continue to decline because this data is below this data. So going to give it a little bit more time. It is setting up potentially for that seasonality of Santa Claus rally. So we'll see where we get to here, and we will go from there. The Qs is looking a little bit more stronger, primarily because there's some Mag 7 stocks that are doing quite well. We're above the volume weighted average price from the Fed. We're holding above now a rising 5-day moving average, and we're holding above the week to date volume weighted average price. We ran into the month to date, pulled back a little bit this morning, so we'll see what happens here over the next little bit. But the Qs are looking a little bit stronger, so we'll have a look at some Mag 7 stocks closer to the end of this video. The SMH is doing good. Similar type fashion, we do have a rising 5-day moving average here, as long as we hold above this data over the next little while, above the volume weighted average price from the Fed, the month to date and the week to date. Sorry, we're below the month to date, but we are above the week to date significantly. And we have a rising 50-day moving average and a rising 20-day moving average. So the SMH is looking a bit stronger. We'll come and have a look at Nvidia here in shortly, but we'll kind of work out from there. The Russell 2000 found buyers above this 20-day moving average, kind of battling with that month to date right now. We still have a declining 5-day moving average and will for the next little bit. This market's run quite far in the last little while. It probably anticipate maybe a little bit more time to kind of consolidate and rebuild here, as we see more profit taking on the shorter term time frame. The XBI made big strides again today, pushed back up above that 5-day moving average, above the week to date. It's still slightly pulling back. We have a bit of a trend line forming here off the top. It looks like a bit of a bullish flag. We found some supply around that 20-day moving average. I like to see it pull back a little bit more, consolidate a little bit more before the next leg up, giving it a bit more of a solid base before we kind of have any movement. The energy names continue just to look like a mess, but down to that volume weighted average price from the all-time high. And we have a declining 50-day moving average. 20 days starting to curl up, but it will over the next few days start to come back down again. They are choppy in a downtrend. We found a bit of a higher low here, but it seems that we're creating a lower high here as well. So not really something to get involved in my opinion. And financial stocks pull back in similar fashion, and very bullish looking flag here that's forming. So we'll see what happens, and keep an eye if you trade financials, and it looks like it could be setting up again for the next leg higher. It looks positive. We'll have a quick look at crypto. We'll just look at the daily time frame here. So actually we'll look at the 4-hour time frame. That's probably the best time frame to look at it on. So we've had this big, what looked to be a sell-off. It looks like we found we're still below a declining 50, 20 and 200-day moving average, and it pulled in quite hard. We've had these like $5,000 ranges over the next few days, found some sellers at the 10-day moving average. Looks like we found some sellers at the 5-day moving average here this morning. It's looking a little bit stronger, this rally, and I say that because if you look at it in a 30-minute time frame, it's a bit more constructive of higher highs and higher lows, versus these kind of choppy pieces were not exactly really constructive. It looked like kind of a faded buy, and then kind of a spike, and then sold into. Same here, faded buy, spike, and then sold into. This looks a little bit more constructive, though we didn't really bounce off anything, so I'm not entirely sure what's giving it. I guess the market's in a bit more of an uptrend, so it's finding a little bit more buyers, higher risk buyers, but we still have all those declining moving averages. So I'm not a buyer of crypto right now. It looks like it might rebuild from here, potentially, but until we get a bit of a flush down, sell out, and down to the lower anchor, I've got no interest in buying any of the cryptos right now. Same for Solana as well. We undercut the prior low, but it seems to be finding some supply here. It just run from 116 to 126. It's almost 10 points on a $120 stock. It's almost 9-ish%. So not to be involved in that one just yet. Tesla's still holding above the 5-day moving average. Had a bit of a shakeout here and it's regained it. It's come a long way, so if you're involved, just know where your stop is. Amazon looked like it was setting up. The 50 is above the 20 right now, but it was still above a rising 200-day moving average. The 5-day is starting to curl up. It will continue to over the next little while. I think Amazon needs a bit more consolidation and pullback before it's anything of a purchase, but it's not looking like one of the stronger Mag 7s in general, but it's looking okay. If you're interested in a Mag 7, keep an eye on it. Nvidia's holding above the 5-day moving average now, but we are continued in a downtrend. The 20-day moving average, we've just kind of broken through. We'll see if we hold above it. 50 days still declining, so it's not something to be buying as a longer term swing trade, but we do have some strength in Nvidia today, which is pushing the market higher, and that's evident through lots of things. PLTR had a nice breakout above this kind of prior this consolidation here today. It was very choppy in the area. This is a 188 down to 176 range, somewhat $12 range, back and forwards here before it then broke above it. So if you're involved, I would say you probably want to hold your stop maybe below the 5-day moving average, somewhere around 183. Give it a little bit of room because it can be extremely choppy if you're involved. Google's looks like it broke back up the 5-day moving average, but it's going to continue to decline unless we get a significant rally up into the 311 area. Keeping a close eye on Google. It's done well over the last little while. Nice little consolidation, pullback here. Not really any major selling, so it tells me the stock is still quite strong. And I think it's one to keep an eye on. It's not a buy right now. I'm going to wait till it shakes out a little bit more into next week, and maybe it's a buy if you do trade kind of some of the Mag 7s. Microsoft we didn't really gap up today. It's kind of chopping around the volume weighted average price, but we're in a bit more of a downtrend. Came down on that 200-day moving average, which is kind of continuing to rise. And Apple is again pulling back here nicely. Not really want to get involved. We're below a declining 5-day moving average right now, so avoid it until it starts to set up. Any trade ideas on the radar? I did have a close eye on Summit Therapeutics for a short today, but the market is not the day to short it. I was looking for a short under here. It didn't kick off. 5-day moving average is now starting to rise a little bit, so take that one off the radar. I was also looking at Lib, similar fashion. It was a breakdown between down this level down here. Daily time frame, it looks like it was going to significantly break down, but 5-day moving average is still starting to decline, but we've had a rally today, so keep an eye on it for next week. If we see some selling in the market, something to keep an eye on the short side. AMT continues to do well. This was a short below 177.78. If you're involved right now, I'd probably have your stop at about 175.97. Give it a bit of room, but it's continued to do what it should be doing in a downtrend, and that's what we will keep an eye on. O'Reilly Automotive was a short below 94.11. If you're involved here, your stop, you probably want to split your stops, probably one here at 93.19 and the other one at 92.13 below those. If you want to tie the stop here so you don't get stopped out, it's probably worth taking some profit. This stock can be a little bit volatile, and we're coming down into a potential area where we have found supply before in this prior kind of band of support. So if you're short O'Reilly's, just make sure you don't let it turn into a loser. The only other thing that I was keeping an eye on this morning, which hasn't turned into anything, is just something to keep an eye on, was Las Vegas Sands Corporation. Still kind of chopping around here. We have a 5-day moving average, but it doesn't seem to be really doing anything at the moment. Put it on the radar, put it on the watch list, see where we get to. The other one I was looking at was on semiconductors, mainly because the 5-day moving average is going to start to rise in the next little while. It's a nice little pullback, bear kind of flag that's happening here. I would say if you're looking to get involved, keep an eye on it as it starts to break up above the daily volume weighted average price, or maybe if you want to give it a little bit more time until it breaks and we show momentum above this 55.10 level. Something to keep an eye on. Anyway, thanks guys. I'll see you in the evening video.